I've always been a firm believer in people and process. And so when I became a manager, I became a lot more invested in people. And again, I probably was a little bit too invested out of the chute, and I was always kind of an advocate for people. But I had to get that right temperament to also work with my colleagues and also senior leadership, because if you don't agree with what comes down from senior leadership, sometimes you have to realize, hey, I'm paid to play a role here. I am paid to be an evangelist of this organization. So I
Sure.
spent a lot of time trying to find a healthy balance there. But my teams were very successful. I was always looking for new challenges too. I've always been very inspired by Michael Jordan.
All
I
right.
read
Okay.
books about Jordan and just what a competitor he was. He was always asking his coach Phil Jackson for different challenges. So I felt like every time I tackled something, I went to my bosses and I'd look for more. Um, when I started, I had 6 people on my team. Then I went to 8. Then I went to 12. Then I went to 20. I had almost 40 people on my team at one point, which nobody else had ever had more than 20. But I wanted more and more and more. And had I not gotten promoted again, I would have had over 50 people on my team. And the main reason for that was because there were small, like, offices that only had 50 people in them, period. And I wanted 50 people on my team just to show that I could do it. I was always looking for different challenges, but I was always looking for ways to make people successful. And it was whatever their own template of that is. Everybody's success looks different. And so there were some people that had a natural ability. And so I felt like my job was to help them get where they wanted to get. If they wanted to get promoted, great. If they wanted to make money, great. If they got themselves into hot water and did something they shouldn't, then help them see the light. Don't just fire them. Don't just get rid of them. Figure out a way to help them see how they can use their talents in a positive way. And then on the flip side of that, if folks came in because I was the top manager, I often got some of the folks that we drafted, right, and so I often got some of the folks that were not deemed as that they would be as high of achievers, and I challenged that, right, because I feel like everybody can be a high achiever. So I would dig in and figure out how can I help this person find their pattern of success, listening to their calls, figuring out process, and then getting their buy-in. I think the biggest thing that we as leaders have to figure out is you can't tell somebody how to do something. You've got to get their agreement and their buy-in. Number one, that they need to do something a certain way.